All right, I would let that play out, but oh man, what happened? What happened? The Mets finally fully collapse. I believed in you this series too, man. I really did. The Padres take the series in a 3-game wild card at Citi Field. Oh no! If you're a Mets fan, I know you're sick to your stomach, but that's okay. It's okay. You know why? Because we smoking that Mets pack tonight, baby! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's back with a Choppin' It Up podcast. Welcome back, my Choppies and Choppettes. It's Chandler Wilkerson, and boy, oh, it is just a wonderful Monday now that the Mets are just gone. Get them out of here! The Mets lose it all after winning 101 games in the regular season. They can't get past the Padres. I told y'all that wild card series is gonna be a doozy. I believed in them. I thought they could get it done. But oh my gosh. I tell you, somebody needs to get Joe Musgrove a trophy. He needs to be put in the Braves Hall of Fame right now because Joe Musgrove went out there and absolutely shoved so much, in fact, that my shiny ears and me, he almost got himself in trouble. They thought he was cheating. Man, that's got to be really embarrassing if you're a Mets fan. It's not a good look. It's really not. And I get the argument that, he legitimately thought something was up, and the spin rates were a little higher, and his velo was a little faster, but it's the playoffs, baby. And that man had been locked in. If you had watched his last few starts before the regular season ended, Joe Musgrove was locked in. So they go out there, and they're like, hey, your ears are kind of looking shiny there, buddy. Can we get a feel of that? And then the umpire just fondles his ear. And I got to be honest, if he would have been thrown out there, that would have been so bad because at that point, the Mets were down, 4-0, I think. And think if they didn't come back and win that game, Mets fans would have absolutely rioted if it was revealed that Joe Musgrove was indeed using foreign substances like he wasn't supposed to. Oh man, they'd probably still be tearing up New York. But alas, it is no more. You know why? Because the Mets couldn't get but one hit. Your season's on the line and then you only get one hit. Oh boy, that really sucks. Smoking that Mets pack, I tell you. All right, listen, I'm going to move along to something, I guess more important things, you could say, to the actual subject matter of what this podcast is about. Let's talk about the Atlanta Braves, shall we? Braves and Phillies, first 2 games, Tuesday at 1, Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Spencer Strider locked up today, 6 years, $75 million. AA is a genius. AA should win Executive of the Decade. No one's got a core like we do, and no one's got a core locked up for as long as we do. We're going to be so good for so long. I'm sorry, Mets fans. The NL East, you know who runs it? It's us. It's always been us. Oh, man, it's so wonderful to get LOLMets back and better than ever. It was LOLMets the whole time. Congratulations, boys. All right, moving along. Braves, Phillies. Tuesday at 1. All right, matinee, whatever. We all know, if you've been following the Braves as closely as I have this year, you're definitely going to look and say, hell, not the day games. Braves did not perform well in day games this year. Now, toward the end of the season, they kind of picked it up during the daytime, but for a while, it seemed like them boys were allergic to the sun. So hopefully that won't rear its ugly head. The Phillies is kind of like the ideal matchup for me coming out of that wild card series. I really didn't want to face St. Louis, even though we kind of owed them one. I mean, come on. The Phillies is a better matchup for Atlanta, and here's why. So you got first game. This is probably what's going to be your pitching matchup on Tuesday, barring any last-minute changes. Max Fried is going to go for Atlanta, and the Phillies are going to throw Ranger Suarez out there. Now, Ranger Suarez is a name that Braves fans have probably learned to loathe over the last few times he started against us. He's absolutely killed us. I don't think he gave up an earned run in his last 2 or 3 starts against us. So good matchup, but advantage Braves, especially because of playoff starts. Now, I don't know if Ranger Suarez has a playoff start or not. I'm assuming not. But if ankle stepped on Max Fried shows up in game 1, you can friggin' forget about it. You're not scoring anything. Not a damn thing. Now, the Braves, I hope the offense doesn't come out very flat, but we know the guys that are going to be important for us are the guys that have that playoff experience, like Dansby and Acuna and some of the other guys in our core from last year's team that performed really well. I'm very curious. A few key players that I find in the early part of this series anyway are guys like Matt Olson. Matt Olson has some postseason at bats, but they're all of course, with the Athletics, and the Athletics never really got to that game that seemed like it had like that kind of magnitude that these games are probably going to hold. So I'm curious to see how he performs. And for the Phillies, outside of the obvious being Bryce Harper needing an absolute, kind of something to really cement his career. I mean, he's had a Hall of Fame career up until this point, but postseason-wise, he's just always fallen short. Not necessarily in the fact that he doesn't perform well enough, but he can't get it seems like he can't really lead his team in those select key moments that they really need him. But I digress in saying that I think another key player in this Phillies lineup for them will be Jean Segura. Gene Segura is a known Braves killer, if you're familiar with him, but he also looked good against the Cardinals. He had that single in the 9th that put him up 3-2 in the first game. By the way, good job, Ryan Helsley. Maybe you should worry about, throwing strikes instead of worrying about the Braves chopping and whatnot. Anyway, but yeah, Ryan Helsley loses the strike zone in game 1. And the Phillies end up winning that game 6-3 in the last moment. That had to be a huge pick-me-up for them because their offense had really struggled, and really they continued to struggle outside of the fact that, they scraped 2 runs against the Cardinals in game 2, and that's all they needed. Shout out to Aaron Nola. That man's kind of a madman. Like I think he led the league in strikeouts. Either he was first or he was second, but got shoved. Cardinals couldn't do anything with him. Their playoff devil magic dies, and RIP to the careers of Molina, Wainwright, Pujols. You'll never see a nastier core. It feels like almost when the San Antonio Spurs core went out. It's like when Ginobili and Tony Parker and Tim Duncan, those guys kind of made their way out. It has a similar feel to it, but you didn't go out on top, Cardinals. I'm sorry about it. I actually like that Cardinals team, just didn't want to play against them. Did not want to play against them. So, game 1 matchup, Braves, Phillies. I'm taking Max Fried here. I'm going with Max Fried. I'm saying Braves win game 1. Braves win game 1. Get a big hit from probably someone like Dansby. That would be sick. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, though. I think it's going to be like 2-1. And Kenley Jansen's going to come in and give us all a heart attack, but somehow still pull it out for us. Because that's just what the Braves do, baby. So, that being said, Braves will go up 1-0. And all this is just predictions, okay? Obviously, I can't see into the future. I can't see what may or may not happen, what kind of intangibles may occur. But game 1 goes to the Braves. And then I say you throw Kyle Wright out there for game 2. I am pretty sure that's a consensus around here. So Kyle Wright game 2. That'd be a solid starter. Who would go for the Phillies is what I would wonder. They would probably, their back's against the wall at this point. You're down 1-0. You don't want to go back to Philly down 2-0 and be facing an elimination game in your own home ballpark. I don't know why I can't speak today. So, would you pitch Nola or Wheeler on shorter rest? to try and kind of shove back and, put all your cards on the table for going back to Philly with a chance to go up 3-1? Or do you go to your fourth starter, who I'm really not sure who the Phillies' fourth starter is. And we know that their bullpen doesn't exactly measure up to ours in terms of personnel. So I'm curious to see who the Phillies would go to. And truthfully, they would absolutely need to steal a game in Atlanta to have even a chance against us. This Braves team is better than this Phillies team. There's no doubt in my mind about it. The Phillies have some pop in their lineup. Yeah, obviously you got Kyle Schwarber, who was the leader in homers this year with 46. Only guy who hit more than Kyle Schwarber all year was, of course, Aaron Judge. So Kyle Schwarber, 46 homers, 94 RBIs, which seems low, but I guess they've been putting him up there at leadoff or second most of the year. So that's why his RBIs seem lower than they should be. But also, this is the number I'm kind of looking at. This man has a .218 batting average. Now I know all the slugging percentage lovers will get who gives a damn about a low average, but .218, that's bad. That's really bad. Considering Marcell Ozuna has a better than .218 average, and we all give him so much shit for being as terrible as he is, that's bad. That's not a good look. But the leader in batting average on this team is Alec Bohm at .280. So Alec Bohm is another key player in this series. He's not the greatest slugger. I mean, he has a below 400 slug. But, I mean, it's a respectable enough slash line at third base to kind of look at him and be like, well, if he gets going, things might happen for the Phillies. But I don't see the Phillies scoring many runs in this series. I don't. Unless something just goes horribly wrong for the Braves, which we all know in Atlanta sports history that very well can happen. But I just don't see it happening, man. I think the Braves are going to win. I'd say Braves in 4, but I honestly think they have a chance to sweep. I think the Braves could get it done in 3 as long as everything is clicking for this team, as long as the rest doesn't turn into rust. So that being said, I'm officially going to say Braves in 4. Braves in 4. Phillies find a way to steal one, probably in Philadelphia. And the Braves just come back with a vengeance and kind of beat up on them and show them who runs the NL East, baby. Because it ain't the Mets. That's one thing that Braves and Phillies fans will just be chuckling at all weekend long. We're going to be at each other's throats, I'm sure. But there's just no way. There's no way that you can't look at the Mets and just chuckle. Ooh, my shiny ears and me. Thank you so much, Joe Musgrove. I don't give a damn if you were cheating or not, which obviously they said he wasn't, but oh, thank you. Thank you, Joe Musgrove, for purging the world of Mets fans. Except Frank the Tank Fleming. We love you, Frank the Tank. You are a national treasure. You should be protected at all costs. And never, ever pay for a drink in Atlanta your entire life because you make my heart smile. Frank the Tank, love you, buddy. Well, I think I'm gonna close things out here. So by this time next week, when I get on the pod, the Braves could already be in the NLCS, or their season could be over. Let's hope I'm talking about the former. But I'm definitely putting the Braves in the NLCS. And look, Dodgers and Padres is going to be intriguing. I still think the Dodgers are going to win that series. But if the Padres keep pitching the way they did, especially at Citi Field, you got to deal with a whole lot more slugging with the Dodgers offense, with Mookie and Freddie and all those guys that they have that just rake. Versus, the one or two guys in the Mets lineup that you have to be really careful about going deep. So, but I mean, the Padres, if they keep track with that pitching, it's going to be interesting out there in LA. And neither team has to travel far. So that'll be cool. Little Southern California, little NL West matchup in the DS, little NL East matchup in the DS. And I think that's no, that's not the case. I was thinking there was an East-West matchup in the AL as well, but you got out there in AL. I am proud of the Guardians, by the way. They really put it together. But yeah, you got the AL West matchup. You got Mariners and Astros. That's going to be a fun one. I'll be looking forward to that. J-Rod and all those guys. Cal Raleigh. A miracle win in Toronto. The greatest postseason comeback of all time. Down 8-1. Win 10-9. That's some storybook shit. We love to see it. We love to see it. I hate to see it for the Blue Jays, though, man. They had a really good lineup, and they had a fun team, and I hate to see them go down like that, but that was kind of a choke job. Sorry about it. And then, you got Guardians and Yankees on the other side. And I'm kind of pissed off about these day games, man. You give the Dodgers and the freaking Yankees their little primetime slots because they're the little media darlings. And you get the World Series champs going up against a team with a sports market that's like third in the country. And you got to play day games? Give me a break. Give me a freaking break. But that's going to do it for now. Once again, Chandler Wilkerson with the Choppin' It Up podcast. Rest in piss, Mets fans. Sorry about your team sucking ass. See ya.